This video is sponsored by my favorite website creator, Squarespace, the best place to go when you want to get a domain or create a beautiful website or an online store. Well, I get the same few questions from you lovely people again and again and again. So I thought I'd be clever and answer all the most common things you ask, like the juicy, dramatic, sometimes quite intrusive, and sometimes very lovely questions that I get again and again. So starting with probably the most common one. Where is that teapot from? And it's this one I'm talking about. And I love showing this one off and the other one I have from the same brand over on Instagram and in videos. And every single time that I show this one, I get inundated with questions about where you can get it. So I have myself very kindly been gifted these two pots and the matching 4 cups from the brand itself. And it is a beautiful brand. They're called Mono, and this is the Filio teapot and teacups. And the larger one is called the Ellipse teapot. They are both perfect. Like, I use the Ellipse every single work morning because it is huge and like much needed. So I have like the tea light stand underneath to keep the tea warm throughout the whole morning. And the Mono is the first one I got, and it is the prettiest teapot in the history of teapots, perhaps. Are you with me? I like that it's like both delicate and elegant, but at the same time it has like almost like a Bauhaus simple functionality about its design. So the Ellipse teacups are also my favorite to drink coffee from, actually. So all my Mono products, I just couldn't recommend them more. Another question I've been getting steadily throughout all the years that I've been posting online: how tall are you? Actually, Jenny Mustard height is one of the top Google searches on my name, I think. So like Jenny Mustard David, Jenny Mustard children, Jenny Mustard height, Jenny Mustard weight, those are like the common ones, I think. So height, I am 174 centimeters without socks. That's like 5'8", I think. So tall, but not super tall, like tall enough to almost never be able to wear trousers the normal way, like ankle short, all of them on me. Taller than David, the little shorty, clocking in at 172 centimeters, my beautiful short king. So maybe one of the more controversial subjects, me not having children, and one of the most common questions I get is, won't you regret not having children when you're older? And the answer to this is like, how would I know? Like, I'm not older yet. So maybe when I am 80, I will regret it. I don't think I will, but there's no way of saying that for certain now. What I can say for certain is that I don't want to make a decision in my 30s that will affect my whole life from now on, based on the fear of what I might feel like as an old lady. My life now is exactly, and I mean exactly, how I want it to be. I'm so like correctly placed in the world. I have the man of my dreams. I live in a city I love deeply. I have not one, but like 2 jobs that are exciting and creatively fulfilling, and somehow managed to give both me and David a decent salary. I love my life, and I don't want to ruin my happiness and contentment based on a weird worry about future FOMO. If I regret it later, so be it. Like, I don't think I will. I think I will be a very happy old lady too, with my books and my David and maybe a cat or a dog or 2. Okay, speaking of my 2 jobs, I get asked so often, what do you do for a living? And well, this. David and I work full-time as creatives, and the bulk of our salary comes from YouTube, and specifically clients sponsoring each video. That's where most of our money comes from. We earn some from Instagram too. Like, we used to earn quite a lot and like quite nicely on the podcast when we did that regularly. And then my second job as a novelist, I make a good chunk there too, but that's much more like sporadic and uncertain, and the payouts are like spaced out with such long intervals. So before you have written a few books and have like a back catalogue, it's harder to make a steady income from that. Actually, if you want me to make a video about like how and what type of money I make as an influencer and as a novelist, and like what you can expect financially from working as a self-employed creative, do let me know. I'm all about transparency, and like I would love to talk you through my experiences with making this my full-time job. Just shout if you're interested in a video like that, and I'll be happy to make it. Back to me being child-free, because another quite hardcore question I get is, don't you feel like a bad person for keeping David from becoming a father? Oh wow, I mean, so since day one with David, I have always been like upfront that if he wants to be with me, is like me or children. He can't have both. Because I've always known that I didn't want to be a parent, and we met so young. We were just like very new adults when we got together. And David quite soon decided that he didn't want to have children either. In those early days though, I did feel bad. I felt that like his love for me had changed his mind. But now, 18 years later, I don't feel bad at all, because it very quickly became clear that David really doesn't want to have children either. I actually wrote a piece for The Guardian about this last year, which goes into like exactly how I feel about this very subject, David not becoming a father. So in case you are curious or interested, I'll put a link to it in the description if you want to read. And will you allow me to brag a little for a moment? Because that day, when my article for them went live, it was the second most popular article on the whole of The Guardian site. There was like the news on a big football match, and then there was my little article about David and his sperm. Isn't that wild? So for some reason, you always ask a lot about my lips and like specifically about which lip product I use. And it's so basic. It's not like a fantastic product that I recommend you buy. It's so much more simple than that. I just like to add like a touch of an orangey red lipstick, which is like darker but quite similar in color tone to my own lips. Just like a touch, like boop, 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 like this. And then I just smear it out with my finger, and then on top, just like a clear lip balm. So I like the really like cheap vegan matte lipsticks from like budget brands like e.l.f. For some reason, they just stick nicely when you eat and drink without becoming dry and uncomfortable. And then on top, you know, I like this lip balm a lot. It's from Biossance, which smells amazing, but really like any lip balm works for that like natural but a little bit softer and darker look. So from new subscribers, I obviously get asked a lot like where I'm from, and I thought my accent was quite clearly Scandinavian. Or what do you guys think? Do I sound Scandi? Because yes, I am. I'm from Sweden. Tall, pale, staccato accent. I feel rather cliché, I have to admit. Can you speak some Swedish to us? Is another common question or request that I get a lot. Så okej, låt mig säga något på svenska om det gör er glada, för ni känner ju mig vid det här laget. Jag försöker alltid vara till lags. Jag menar, ni betalar ju faktiskt min lön i slutändan, eller hur? Et voilà! Alright, so you ask me all the time for my congee recipe. Brown rice and red lentil congee, the #1 staple dinner in the mustard household. Although it's not me who makes it, it's David. So healthy, so tasty, so comforting, and David makes a huge batch once per week, so dinner cooking is very easy indeed in our house. I made a recipe video a few weeks back with my 5, I think, all-time favorite vegan healthy foods and recipes. Super easy stuff to cook, and it's 5 foods that I eat more or less daily. So I'll leave a link so that you can make your own congee and see for yourself how you like it. More or less whatever top I'm wearing in my videos, I will get a question about where it's from. This one is from Gospel and I love it. David has set up like one of those affiliate link places where you can find a lot of the clothes and skincare and kitchenware and like different products for yourself. Oh, and my favorite books too. I do get a percentage back whenever you use one of my affiliate links. It's also like a nice bonus effect for me, not just to let you guys know where everything is from. I don't have links for everything because some brands aren't like connected, but you'll find like a decent chunk of my favorite products on there, I think. I will leave links in the description. So yes, also skincare routine. There's a lot of questions about that, and I've been using the same few products for years and years and years. And although I get sent like a lot of new stuff to try from different brands, I usually just stick to the basics. Santa Verde and Medicate. Besides from that, I'm like a huge believer in sleep, drinking water, and above all, like eating a healthy anti-inflammatory plant-based diet. When I turned vegan, it worked goddamn wonders on my skin, like much more important than skincare brand if you ask me. And again, if you want like a full video about skin health, skincare, whatever, I'm happy to talk about what has worked and hasn't worked for my particular skin, because my skin is actually quite sensitive. Ever since my debut novel came out last year, I've been getting a lot of questions on like how I wrote it and where to start if you want to try writing fiction for yourself. And honestly, it's a way too big of a topic to squeeze into this video, to be honest. But do you guys write fiction, a lot of you? Or are you like thinking of maybe trying but don't know how? It's a bit daunting, isn't it? Like that first empty blank page is a bit scary. And I think for many people when they start out, they feel a little almost like embarrassed to be like, hello, let me start making shit up about make-believe characters. So again, I'm happy to talk about how I do it, like how I start, chapter 1, page 1. Also, David and I are thinking about maybe perhaps in the future giving writing courses. So online or in person, or short ones or long ones. Who knows, maybe I guess it depends a lot on what you'd like. So let me know what you would want and if you think it sounds like a good idea. The sweetest question I get asked again and again, which is both heartwarming and a little bit heartbreaking, is where can I find my own David? Whenever I talk about David and just how our relationship is, with working together and David being so super caring and kind and smart. Are you blushing yet back there, doll face? So I get that it's this type of being together 24/7, sharing the same job and friends and flat and life type of relationship. So it isn't for everyone. But a lot of people want some space and some mystique and all of that, but I really don't. I want David around all the time. And it seems like a lot of you want something similar. And especially if you're a woman who wants to find a man to have a romantic relationship with, it's you want someone who is self-assured and dramatically feminist and utterly unladdie. It's not an easy task. So what can I say? I lucked out. I think if David broke up with me, I would probably go ahead and date mostly women, to be honest. But if I had to look for a man, I'd likely go to a vegan dating app and find a man who likes books. Vegan and reader, 2 major green flags in my book. Are you going on dates right now? Please help everyone out by telling us where you date and what you look out for. Green flags, red flags. I want to hear all about your success stories and your most awful dates. Why not? Go ahead and share. And on that note on David, I often get the question how is David doing? Just you guys checking in because you see me all the time, but he's doing more behind the camera work at the moment. This is also so sweet of you. It's really warming that you care so much about him. So David is now my full-time manager. We used to have a separate manager, but since 6 months or maybe 8 months back, David has been doing all that stuff himself. He also does most of the housework because doing both influencer stuff and writing novels has turned out to be, it leaves very few hours for laundry and paying bills. So he's just stepping in, carrying almost all of that household weight himself, and it's working so well. I think we both at the moment feel very fulfilled by work. We work too much and that's a problem, but the actual tasks that we do, we're both quite happy with. David as a part-time manager, part-time creative, and me as part-time influencer and part-time writer, it suits both of us to our personalities so smack on perfectly. So the work that he does in a week, it would drive me mad. All those 10,000 small fires to put out and emails to reply to. And the work that I do, sitting on my bum for 10 hours straight, focusing on one monster task, novel editing. David would panic if he had to do that day after day. So again, having a David, I lucked out. We complement each other so well working together. And I know for 100% certain that I would neither be an influencer nor an author if I'd never met him. I mean, not that he can't annoy the hell out of me, sorry David, and not that I can't be a horrible little girlfriend to him from time to time, but I mean that's pebbles, that's nothing to complain about really, that's just life. But what about you? Do you have a David, or do you want one, or are you perfectly pleased just being solo and single? I think we all deserve David energy in our life, no matter if it comes from a romantic relationship or a friendship or a very supportive and feminist house cat. So I hope that I've answered most of your questions in this video. Do let me know if I missed anything. And I feel I've asked you a bunch of questions back, haven't I? Do you want me to make a video on skin health or money or writing fiction or how we get paid? I aim to please, so go ahead and request whatever you want me to do in the future. Now, do you want to create a beautiful site or maybe start your own blog? If so, you should definitely do it with Squarespace. Listen to this. With the new guided design system, Squarespace Blueprint, you can choose from professionally curated layouts and styling options to build a unique online presence from the ground up. Squarespace is also amazing with blogging tools to share your stories, photos and videos to make it easy to reach your audience. You can also auto-post your content to Twitter, Facebook or Tumblr, and they have great traffic analytics so that you can see how many people are visiting your site, how long they're staying for, where they're coming from and what they're interested in, like books, fashion or maybe food for example. So what are you waiting for? Go get your free trial today at squarespace.com, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/jennymustard to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. I think that's it for today. Ask away if you have any more questions, and I hope to see you very, very soon. Okay, bye bye bye.